anything else.
You are lucky. You
So
are
we're
fake
looking
news.
at Thursday, March 15th. We're going to get into our story of Heracles. Tomorrow you have a quiz. The story of the quiz tomorrow is Arachne, Phaethon, Pandora, Prometheus, Seasons, Underworld, a whole bunch of different ones you have a couple questions from. And Camp Tecumseh stuff is due, charge challenge, we have in a week. Myth homework number 2 to help you with the quiz. If you have no idea what's going on with the quiz, you should probably go through and take a look at it. Or the charge challenge, these are the people we currently have listed, although I have a feeling more coming in, so maybe it'll be filled up by the end of the day. This is your myth homework number 2, and then, oh, by the way, you can pause. Now you can play and keep going. And then this will be the story of Heracles. We're not going to get through the whole story. You're going to have to actually read part of it on your own. But we're going to try and get through as much of it as we can. And then you can get to the story on my website there. There's the one from yesterday about Arachne, the one for today, and then don't forget the Tales of the Underworld, which has the map on it. The story of Arachne, I recorded a video of me doing it yesterday. So if you did not want to read it, you're more than welcome to watch the video of it, and that's fine with me. Now for this part. Heracles is a god that you already, not a god, he was actually just a demigod, is a person from Greek mythology you already know. You just know him by his Roman name, because his Roman name is Heracles. But in Greek mythology, it was Heracles, and I use Heracles for a reason, because his name has importance in Greek mythology.
Hera.
Which connects to Hera. Well done. With this, Zeus, once again, comes down and becomes friendly with a human. A girl by the name of Alcmena. He and Alcmena are together. Shortly afterwards, she gets pregnant. This time when Zeus explains to her, hey, you and I have been friendly, now you're pregnant, bad news, my wife's probably going to kill you, Alcmena decides to be proactive. So instead of hiding from Hera, she goes straight to Hera to go and ask forgiveness. So she goes to a temple, which was Hera's area, and she goes down to this temple and starts praying up to her and saying, hey, I made a poor choice, I was friendly with your man, please don't kill me. If you don't kill me, I will name my baby after you as a way of honoring you. So every day she go down to the temple, is like, thank you for not killing me yesterday. If you let me go another day, I'll name my baby after you. Every day keeps it all the way until she eventually gives birth. And she gives birth not to a daughter, but to a son. And when she gives birth to the son, she's like, is still going to name you after Hera. So she names her son Heracles, which breaks down into 2 things. Hera and Cles. The Hera part's easy. That's going to be the god. Cles, in Greek, meant the joy of. So essentially, his name meant the joy of Hera. If you can imagine, you are a young boy, and your parents name you Happy Susie, and you get to live your whole life named Happy Susie, things don't necessarily go well for Heracles as he gets older. But Hera, after the son is born, decides, you know what? I let the girl live because she sought me out, but I need people to understand you can't be friendly with my man and not escape punishment. So I'm going to kill the baby to teach her a lesson, because that's what you do. So she waits until the baby's in the crib that first night, and then she sends in 2 gigantic snakes into the crib to bite it and kill it. These 2 gigantic snakes sneak into the crib, come over the top, and come down to bite onto Heracles. Heracles looks up as a little tiny baby, sees the snakes, grabs both the little snakes by their little heads, and squeezes the necks. Ka-chingity! Killing both of the little snakes instantly. Then grabs on the little snake tails and swings them around his head and thunks them into nearby walls. Ka-chunkity, ka-chunkity, and makes like a little Spider-Man using little baby snakes. He's like, whoochie, whoochie, and swings around the room having a good time, just giggling himself silly. Alcmena comes in, she's like, honey, oh my Zeus! And her baby's like, whooshing, whooshing. She's like, things are probably not going to go well. There's every chance those snakes are not an accident. I think Hera's still trying to kill my baby. Hera sees this happen and goes, wow, not what I expected. This baby's a bit more impressive than I was thinking. I'm going to have to wait my time, but I'm going to find the perfect time to attack. So Hera fades in the background and decides to wait a few years before she gets her full revenge on this family. Alcmena spends the next many years worrying about the next attack on her son. Eventually, we get to the point where Heracles grows up to be a young man. He's in school. He's a late-aged teenager. But he's had a rough childhood because kids try to bully him all the time. Dad's not around, claims his dad is Zeus, and he has a bad temper, but that he inherited from his father. And so because of that, whenever kids make fun of him for his name, he's like, you shouldn't make fun of me. And he's like, oh, you're in the hospital. Sorry about that. And things don't go well. Well, one day, He's having trouble in music class. So his music teacher offers to teach him lessons and to take him out to the woods, because Heracles was so bad at music, whenever he tried to play it, it was bang, 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 and he played a little lyre. And his music teacher goes, all right, listen, we can't stay around other people because I'm afraid your music is going to kill somebody. So we're going to take you out into the woods to practice. So the music teacher takes Heracles out into the woods to practice. Heracles keeps trying to, and as he plays it, the music teacher gets more and more frustrated and keeps sassing Heracles, like, how is your uncle Apollo, the god of music? Your uncle should be Defo, the god of people who can't hear, because you're a and just keeps taunting him. And he's like, I'm trying as well as and eventually, as the music teacher keeps sassing him, unleashing fury on him, Heracles snaps. And he's like, you want to hear good music? Grabs the lyre by the top, swings at the teacher, whang! Hits the teacher in the head, killing him instantly. 1, you should never hit a teacher. That's bad. 2, never hit a teacher using a weapon like an instrument. That's especially bad. 3, never hit a teacher when you have superhuman strength. Things don't end well, especially for the teacher. I don't know, Mr. Brovicast, weekend plans. Bang! And he hits the teacher, goes down. He's like, you don't look so good. Your head's kind of hanging on funny. And he goes over and picks up the teacher. He's like, and he's like, takes the teacher, runs back down to the village. He's like, there's something wrong with the teacher. And they're like, what happened? He's like, he hit his head. I'm like, what did he hit his head on? He's like, my lyre. I'm like, well, how'd that happen? He's like, I was swinging it at the time. They're like, you killed the teacher? And he's like, well, yeah. Naturally, the village does not take well to teacher killing. Most people don't take well to teacher killing. Just putting that out there now. So the whole village rallies together and kicks him out. They're like, listen, you can't stay here. We're not a pro-teacher killing kind of place. So you have to leave. And Heracles, as booted out, has to leave his mom behind. As a teenager, is forced to go out and wander the world. And he does. Wanders for the next many years. Eventually settles down in the woods by himself. Builds himself a little log cabin. Things go well. Years later, he gets into his 20s. He spent years on his own. Runs into a girl by the name of Megara. If you saw the old Disney Hercules cartoon, Megara is the red-haired girl that he ends up falling in love with in there. Same one here. And he ends up finding this girl, Megara, falling in love with her. He and Megara get married. He explains to her his past. He's like, hey, I made some poor choices in my life. She's like, who hasn't? He's like, I killed a music teacher. She's like, that's pretty bad. But she still loves him. Things are good. They eventually have 2 young sons, Heracles Jr. and Heracles III. And these 2 young sons and the 4 of them grow up quite happy until one day he leaves his family behind to go out and chop wood. He's like, bam, I'll be back. I'm going to get some wood for the fire. And he goes out whistling to himself into the woods to go chop down some logs for firewood. While he's out there, Hera decides this is the day she's going to finally get revenge. So she turns herself invisible. Sneaks up behind him while he's out there chopping wood and badonks him in the head. Badonk! When she badonks him, she puts a curse onto him. He quickly is like, I just felt like I got badonked in the head, but can't see anything. She backs away giggling, giggly, 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 and goes and hides behind a tree to watch her badonking happen. He's like, oh, that was weird. I got badonked, but I can't figure out what's going on. Ah, well, must have been my imaginary badonking. And he then picks up all the woods, takes his axe, heads back to his house, throws all the wood down, goes and opens the door to his home, and he's like, honey, kids, I'm holy cow! His family is gone. His house has been invaded by monsters. He sees a giant monster and these 2 little monsters, little armies going all blah, 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 blah. They come running at him and charge him in the doorway. Heracles freaks out, starts yelling at the monsters. He's like, where's my family? Like, blah, 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 blah. He's like, horrible monster, like, blah, blah, blah. As they jump at him, they start slapping him with their little blah, 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 blah arms. He throws them off of him, takes his axe, and slaughters the monsters. Where's my family? Axe. Where's my family? Axe. Can't find his family. Searches the whole house. Searches the nearby woods. Family's nowhere to be seen. Runs from there down to the nearest village. He's covered in blood. He's like, help me find my family. They're like, what's wrong with you? He's like, monsters came. They took my family. Can you help me? They're like, yeah. And the whole family, The whole village rallies together, and they all run after him all the way back up to his house. They get back to the house like, hey, can we see the monsters? He's like, what? Like, we've never seen monsters before. He's like, oh, quickly. They're inside the house, but look at them, and we need to go find my family. And they're like, okay. And the villagers all creep over the house like, ee! And they look inside the house, and they start screaming like, ah! And he's like, I know, monsters. They look at him, and they go, ah! And he's like, I know, I killed those. And they're like, ah! And he's like, why do you keep screaming like that? And then he goes over to look inside the house, and his family's right there.
Dead.
Slaughtered. And of course, they've been chopped to pieces with an axe. And the villagers all look at him, and he's like, ah! Turns out, when Hera bedonkified him, she cursed him. So the next things he would see as monsters. So Heracles slays his own family with no explanation for why it happened. The villagers riot. If you think teacher killing is bad, apparently family killing is even worse. I have no idea why. And so they rally up to fight against him. Heracles flees, runs away. I don't know why I did that. And runs until he finds a place called the Oracle. The Oracle was this place where the gods could speak to you. And Heracles runs until he finds this temple of the Oracle. Sits down there and begins praying. He's like, Father, I've made a poor choice. And Zeus is like, what'd you do? He's like, I slaughtered my family. Zeus is like, whoa, at least you didn't kill a teacher or anything. He was like, yeah, I did that too. And Zeus is like, what's wrong with you, child? He goes, what can I do to make up for this? Zeus goes, I'm not sure you can. This is pretty bad. Why did you do it? He goes, I can't explain it. I have no idea. I thought they were monsters. I felt like I got bedonked, and so because of that, things happened. I have no reasons. Zeus goes, all right, let me talk to the other gods. I'll get back to you. Zeus goes and talks to the other gods. They have a little conference, and they decide, all right, here is what you're going to do. You have to do 10 impossible missions. We're going to give you 10 years to do 10 impossible things. If you can finish these 10 impossible things in 10 years, you will be forgiven all of your past sins, and things will be okay. If you fail any one of the 10, or if doing them takes you longer than 10 years, you will spend the rest of eternity in Tartarus being tortured. Do you agree? Heracles goes, absolutely. I think it's absolutely worth it. I'm in. What's my first mission? Zeus goes, I can't pick that for you. You're going to have to figure it out by another guy. And Zeus sends him to a guy by the name of King Eurystheus. King Eurystheus was a cousin of Heracles. He was the son of one of the other guys. I don't remember which one. I know King Eurystheus was not a nice guy. He was petty, he was mean, he was unhappy, he was an angry little guy. So when Heracles shows up, he sees this big, strong, hulking guy, and all of a sudden he decides he's going to come up with the worst possible things he can. And Heracles goes, hey, King Eurystheus, I plead before you, what is the first thing you want me to do? Eurystheus goes, all right, how about this? There's a nearby town by the name of Nemea. There's a gigantic lion that's been going around just randomly eating people for like the last several decades. You have to go kill that lion and bring it back to me. Zeus goes, you want me to go kill this giant lion and bring the body back? Eurystheus goes, yeah, that's it. Just go kill the lion and bring it back and you should be fine. Heracles goes, easy peasy. Takes off to go kill the lion. Gets to this village where the lion is, the Nemean lion. And when he gets there, the lion jumps on him all, meow, meow, and comes at him. Heracles pulls out his sword, and he's like, stupid lion, and stabs it. But when he does, his sword bounces off. Doink! He's like, well, that was weird. Doink! 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 Turns out the lion has impenetrable skin, cannot be punctured by any mortal weapon. King Eurystheus knew this, of course, and that's why he sent him to go kill it. So Heracles is rolling around with the lion while it's biting on him. He's like just tickling it with his sword. He's like, I made a poor choice, I made a poor choice, I made a poor choice. And then he thinks of a way to kill the lion that does not involve him having to stab the lion. And what does he do?
Pull out the lion.
Poison.
Ooh, all good choices. Poison requires a little bit more research, so the lion's busy biting on you.
Break the jaw. Fire?
And so fire would be fun, but once again, hard to do while the lion's biting on you at the time. Like, hang on, I gotta go get some flint. You just hang out there while I burn you. Instead, he goes into a WWE move and decides that he's instead going to break the lion's neck. And so while he's wrestling it, he gets the lion into like a little sleeper hold with the arm around the lion's neck, like a little hold like this, like, ah! The lion's like, meow! meow, 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 and then ends up taking out. It ate people. It's a horrible creature.
That's my last days. You're not allowed to do that.
Lion, lion, and then ends up killing this large feline creature. Ends up killing it, but then realizing that the skin of it would make a really good armor. He's like, I really like to use it as armor, but carrying around an old decaying lion would get really stinky. So he's like, I'm going to have to find a way to skin it. But the trick comes in, how do you skin the lion when you can't puncture its skin with anything? So he ends up realizing if he grabs the cat's own paw and squeezes, the little claw comes out. And he can use the cat's own claws to skin it. So once he goes, rips it open, pulls it apart, pulls off all the lion's skin, and gets his very own impenetrable lion skin. Which is why in almost every picture of Heracles we see, he's wearing lion fur. Lion fur, lion fur, lion fur. Even over here, picture of Heracles, lion fur. He's always wearing that lion fur, which he then uses throughout all of his other missions for everything else, thus helping him out. He goes all the way back to King Eurystheus, wearing this new lion fur, and he's like, that was easy. What you got next? King Eurystheus is like, whoa, okay, kind of thought that was going to kill you. All right, I've got this. There's a creature called a hydra, which is like a little water snake monster. It's been terrorizing a different area. I need you to go kill this hydra snake monster. Heracles takes off to go kill this snake monster. The problem is, the snake monster didn't have just one head, it had 9 heads. What made it even worse was every time you cut off one head, 2 more would grow back. And so when you chop off one, 2 would come out. To make it even worse than that, its blood was acid. So when you cut off one head and it bled on you, it would burn your skin, plus 2 more would pop out when it happened. This time, Heracles has learned his lesson, and he does research before he shows up. Decides not to just plunge into it blind, asks around first, and he finds out all of this information. Decides, all right, I'm going to bring a friend to help me. And he ends up recruiting the friend of this kid by the name of Iolcus. And Iolcus is this one little kid who's like a nearby cousin. He's like, hey kid, how'd you like to come fight a monster? He's like, sounds like fun. And brings this kid in with him. Gives the kid a giant burning torch. He says, what's going to happen is I'm going to run up, cut off the head. You're going to run up with the torch and melt the neck shut each time I cut one off. And that's what they do. They work together. He runs up to cut off the head. The kid runs up there dodging acid. Slappity, melting it shut. Goes all the way down until he ends up getting down to the last head, which is an immortal head that you can't kill. He chops it off and it's just like, ah, 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 ah. So he does what any responsible person would do. He picks up a rock, puts the head under it, and just puts the rock back down and says, don't look underneath there. And just leaves it underneath a rock. Worst possible thing you could do when a kid's like out there looking for like new rocks, like, ah! And then gets eaten, but whatever, responsibilities for other people. What he does do though, is he takes a whole bunch of his arrows that he has and pulls out all these arrows and dips them into the hydra's blood. Because the acid doesn't hurt the arrows, it just makes it so if it touches your skin, it then kills you. Giving him these super powerful arrows, where he doesn't even have to really puncture you. He can just take an arrow and like touch you like a magic wand, like ah, and then you would fall down. So he has like all these super great arrows he gets to use. Fitz?
He doesn't have a lion skin in that picture.
No, he does there. And this one's actually not supposed to be him. That was the Hydra fighting another person. So then I found a picture of actual him. So there's him fighting it. Didn't mean to throw you off. And then there's another picture of him fighting a Hydra. And there's lots of pictures of him fighting. That's another random person fighting a Hydra. There's apparently multiple Hydras. There's a statue of him fighting a Hydra. And then from there, Eurystheus ends up changing it. You're like, all right, so obviously you fighting things, you're pretty good at. It's because you're really strong. So he changes it. And for the next couple of them, he has to go hunt things down. There's supposed to be like this hog, that was a giant boar, that was running around that was really hard to find. Sends him out to find that. Ends up doing it. Ends up having to find this deer that belonged to Artemis and has to talk to Artemis to get it back. Has to be able to negotiate with other people. Keeps getting tougher and tougher things until he gets to the 5th labor. And the 5th labor was a guy by the name of King Aegis. And Aegis had 3,000 horses. And these 3,000 horses... 3,000 horses that had not had their stable cleaned in 100 years and had over 10 feet of poop. And he had to clean the stables in 1 day. But that's the story. Now's the part where you have to read it on your own. That's where I got through most of